Things about my wife is that I have been able to record music, play video games, get on Discord calls late at night, and she's able to sleep through it. And I think at first she wasn't, but now she's just like learned to tune me out so that like if we're recording, never mind. She's always been able to sleep through it. So there wasn't even an adjustment phase. Like I guess my voice is soothing and it can put her to sleep.
That's hard. We love that.
Nice.
She says she's a heavy sleeper, but I choose to believe option A. So us staying up to film won't be an issue. That's, again, biggest pro ever, because I know a lot of people would have to end their night when their wife goes to bed. So
I hear that. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2. Hold on, my light just turned off. Hold on.
Record yourself, bro.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, don't worry. I got extra battery. Honey? My love, let me get my battery. Pretty please. Wait, don't throw it at me. Don't throw it.
I'm telling you, bro, I envy this one day.
Maybe don't talk to women that live in California.
Dante, why are you talking to women?
I slid in someone's DMs and I didn't know that until later. Well, we're cool.
What do you mean?
No,
I
knowingly slid into someone's DMs and didn't know they were from California until a little later. And then I was like, damn, that sucks. But yeah, we're cool peoples.
Hey, welcome to the Wide Awake Show. It's your boy Phil talking here with Jae. Man, we are so excited to get into it today. We've been doing these podcasts every week. We're trying to do 2 a week. We love talking about the creative process, the authentic side of what we do and why we do it. And we're just excited to keep it going. Jae, would you care to say anything? I know you got the Ravens jersey on. I know there's some pain in your chest right now. Yeah, man, tell them.
So for those of you who are actively listening, we are about an hour removed from the Ravens divisional round playoff loss to the Buffalo Bills. I didn't have it in me to remove my Ravens jersey, and as heartbreaking as that loss was, that's just the nature of the game. Any given Sunday in the NFL, and so sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. I needed to take a few minutes to process that loss, but we're here. There's going to be another season, and we'll compete next year just as we do every other year.
Every year, bro.
Yeah, man. Baltimore has lucked out to have a playoff contending team pretty much every season. I actually think I saw a stat this week that said that the Ravens are officially the winningest team in NFL history. They passed the Cowboys a couple weeks ago. So even though we lost, I still think the future is bright. We got Lamar Jackson, and as painful as that loss was, we're still here. So
he said no other players. He said ...
Well, all right, for even more context, I don't want to even speak the name of 89, but we do have Isaiah Likely, we do have Rashad Bateman, and we do have Zay Flowers, and we have Nate Wiggins. We have an incredible team. But it's Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about.
Anyways, man. Tell first listeners, relax. Tell the first listeners what the Wide Awake podcast is all about, what Wide Awake is. Yeah, take it away.
Wide Awake Global, my friends, is a group. Hold on. Sorry.
Oh my God.
I was burping out my pain.
Diabolical.
I know, dude. I'm still processing the loss. Can you smell it? Okay, so Wide Awake is a business/brand whose primary goal is to equip and empower creatives, no matter what discipline or what field you are in, to equip them and inform them and help them navigate the creative industries that they are in. and give insight into the various different fields. So every few weeks, we're going to try to interview different artists, or it might just be Phil and I discussing some of the things that we've seen in the industry, maybe some trends. It all really just depends on what's going on that week. But our goal at the end of the day is to highlight artists, give them a platform to succeed, and give them a chance to be heard or seen. And what better way to actually lean directly into doing that than have our first guest?
What? We have a guest?
We do have a guest this week. And
tell me about him. Or her, or them.
I can tell you that this person's pronouns are he, him, that nigga. That is his whole.
That's him?
Yeah, that's him.
That's Timothy.
So our guest today is Dante Zeron Henry, otherwise known as DZH, who is a very good friend of mine. As a matter of fact, he is in my house right now.
What?
He knows where I live. That's how close. See? He's so excited to be in my house right now.
Did you let him in? What's going on?
I'm pretty sure that he cast a spell while I was at work today to cause a snowstorm at his house so that he couldn't go home, so that he could stay with me. No, but all jokes aside, Dante is an incredible writer, incredible rapper, and artist from New Jersey. And I am very blessed and proud to call him a good friend of mine. And so today's episode is going to be all about you, my friend. So why don't you give a deeper introduction to yourself, to our listeners, and explain who you are, what you do, and your favorite food.
All right, so we'll check this out, right? I go by the artist name of DZH. I was born in New Jersey, Livingston, New Jersey, and I've been in New Jersey pretty much my entire life, honestly. My love for music actually started with the soundtrack of video games. I know other people are like, oh my God, like it came from this and my mom was playing this. Like, no, like me and my cousin would stay up most hours. Anytime I'd go over there and play Midnight Club 3 Double Edition Remix, Need to Be Underground 2, Need to Be Underground, Burnout, Takedown 3, all the racing games that you could think of, until one day, I think I heard this one artist named The Game in this record called Higher. And I remember it because it was off his album called The Documentary. And I just fell in love with, I don't know how, I just fell in love with that West Coast sound. And then from there, I did my research on my favorite artists. And then from there, I did my research on who are some other rappers who got that, like that sound or whatever the case may be. And then coincidentally enough, to backtrack just a smidge, I learned how to write songs first before I actually learned how to rap, which is actually crazy. So I went to this church called Living Praise Church before they took it down and replaced it with a storage unit company, which bothers me to this day. But they had, they had like a children's church and then they had like the adult church. So across the street or across like the balcony or like the area where everyone kind of just disperses and talks or whatever, they had like the children's church, and the children's church would have this thing where like everyone would be yelling or be, praising the Lord. And then like somebody with a projector would be like showing the name of the song and who wrote it and how the song would go. And I just remember specifically being like, okay, verse 1, saying all songs glorifying God, bridge, hook, pre-hook, bridge again, verse 2. So that mentally just taught me how to write songs, and I've always kept that. Like if you even go into my notes, you can see verse 1, verse 2, hook, bridge, verse 1, verse 2. Like I'm still doing that to this day. So rapping kind of came in a form of poetry once because I didn't have any beats at all. So it was just like poetry. All those poems were terrible. Fast forward into 6th grade, I had this girl who I wanted to ask out. Her name was Colin Fernandez.
Whoa! That's a government
dropping the government on the episode. That's a Wide Awake exclusive.
I say her middle name, so really cool. But yeah, like I thought she was super fine. I wrote this rap. I gathered everybody from 6th grade to like hear the rap or whatever to ask her out. She said no. Fun fact. Yeah, it was cold, bro. It was cold. I was hurt.
But like, when did she say no? Like after you finished the song, 16? Like how long?
I finished the song. So boom, everybody from 6th grade knew I liked this one. I knew I liked this shorty, whatever the case may be. I was like, oh, like you should have a shorty, or like, you know what I'm saying? You should have a man, whatever the case may be. I'll whoop. So I was like, all right, cool. Like we already know. Now it's like, all right, well, cool. Like everyone asking, like, all right, so what you gonna do to ask or whatever the case may be. I was like, yo, I'm gonna write a little rap or whatever the case may be. I went home. I didn't do no homework. I spent the whole rest of the day just writing this 16, trying to make sure this 16 is fire. And in my head at the time, I'm like, this is calm. Like, what? I ain't nobody. How many people, ask somebody out to a rap, bro? Like, I know this is calm. I'm light years ahead. Whole time. No, not light years ahead. I'm not, bro. Next day, school, I came with the rap in my back pocket. I did no homework. I didn't care what was going to happen. I'm like, I don't care what these teachers say to me, bro. I'm going to get these digits. We're going to go from there. Boom. So people are asking like, yo, bro, what's the rap like? I'm like, I'm pulling out this piece of paper. I'm like, this going to give me the dub, bro. Y'all don't even know. They're like, yo, let me hear it. I'm not, nah, bro, you got to hear after school, gang. You got to hear after school. So fast forward, after school, we in a we in a Stop and Shop parking lot. And like everybody, damn near like 75 to 80% in sixth grade come. And they're like, oh my God, all right, bro. Like, everyone be quiet. We going to let him rock. So everybody silent. Everyone got their phones out. By the way, this is my side note. We don't have like iPhones. So we have like Pantex and Sidekicks and like iPods. So everybody's recording on like the most terrible quality ever I could think of.
Yeah.
So Sidekicks was way out of
crazy,
bro.
Though.
That sucker was like a sidekick. Oh my God, I remember that. So boom, I get my little raps off. She's like, nah, unfortunately, like I can't, I don't want to date. I was like, damn, that's tough. That's trash. I was like, all right, you know what? It's cool. It is what it is. So that was that. But even from then, it showed me like how passionate I was about music. Cause I was like, I think rap could get me far. I just fast forward, kept writing. And then in high school, I finally got my first iPhone. And I think it was either freshman or sophomore year that I had gotten like an iPhone. And I just started making beats from GarageBand because, GarageBand came with the iPhone. All the beats were terrible. I don't even want all of them. Terrible. Would not rap over and wouldn't suggest anyone to rap over them. And then I went to college and then I started taking it more seriously. As a matter of fact, up until I want to say my very first record that was on iTunes, everything was recorded off of an iPhone. And I just sent my vocals over to someone else to mix and master. So they were all terrible. And then one day, somebody was on IG and they was like, yo, I'm giving away all my studio equipment for like $100. I'm like, bro, I need it. Like, where you at? He's like, yeah, I'm over here. I've never cut and break so many laws in order to get to that location. I'm like, all right, cool. So what you got? Oh, I got this mic. I got an interface and I got a mic stand that I'll give you $100 for. I give that man $125 just to, be a little bit happier. Came back home. And on top of that, it was, I forgot what it was. It was winter break. So I went home like right after that, the day of. I was like, all right, cool. Like we good. I figured out the DAW. I went with the cheapest DAW, which at the time was PreSonus 1. Still use it to this day. I know I get a lot of hate for that. It's cool. It's got me to this point. So I don't hear nothing. And yeah, from there, just a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of wins, a lot of losses, a lot of lessons learned. And yeah, here we are. I mean, the rest is history, y'all.
Wow, man, there's so much from that. Yeah, you go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so first thing, I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about you, Dante, and I really loved that story. And there's a lot of similarities to how I started making music, specifically the church part. I was in worship band and we had in-ear monitors, and in the click track that they would play, it was the bridge, pre-chorus, chorus. And yeah, and when I started making music, that's how I would think about song structure too. So I thought that was really interesting. But my main question for you is, would you say that your middle school heartbreak rejection ignited the flame to make you continue making music with the level of passion that you do it today?
It's definitely one of the stories I like telling, but is it like the main reason? No, it's not. No, it's not. Because even in 7th grade, I did the exact same thing with another woman. So I was just like, I was just...
Round 2. Did you succeed?
Round 2. Did you succeed? Wow. Still going 2 for 2. All right. So listen. There's got to be a lesson from that, man. There's got to be something that people can learn from that. The persistence that you had to go not once, but 2 for 2. Now, 7th grade, I'm sure there was still some Pantex and Sidekicks, but I know some rich boys had the iPod Touch or whatever, at least. And so quality's getting better. Did you try it again in 8th grade?
Too. I thought I was fly. I thought all I needed was the raps. and a fly rap name. And side note, my rap name was not DZH back then. It was something. So
what was it?
Horrible. So at first, because I was mimicking Jay-Z like a lot, I was mimicking his style. I ran through his albums like the back of my head. I studied his style and everything like clockwork. I went through Trey Z because my mom nicknamed me Trey and my middle name was Z. My middle name is Zaron. So I was like, all right, Trey Z sounds fire. Like, that's easy. That's light work. And from 6th to 7th grade, it was cool. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I could look at a lawsuit that I was thinking like thousands of years ahead. I was like, nah, bro, I don't think that could fly. So then I went by T Skills. I thought that was the hardest thing in 7th grade when I thought of that to myself. I was like, T Skills sounds crazy. Like, battle rapper name could 100% fly. Rapper name right now, I would not respect anybody named T Skills at all. So I was just like, bro, let me just go with my initials. It's DZH. It's super it's super easy. It's super simple. I'm not doing anything. So I was like, all right, cool, DZH. And then from there, yeah, it was easy to follow.
Man, but if you had embraced the R&B aspect of Dante more, Trey Z would have been such a fun mixture of Trey Songs and Jay-Z.
Yeah, like, Trey Z.
I'm so glad I didn't.
I can picture
R&B. You would have bagged that.
For sure.
You would have bagged 3 for 3.
You know what? Let me just stick with something that's me, and it just works. Because I was just like, all right, bet. Like, DZH will just work. And I was just like, cool. And I didn't, another thing, I didn't like Zaron enough to be like, oh yeah, my rap name is Zaron, or my rap name is just Dante Zaron. It was just like, I got to figure out something that's just like unique. And I was also a little kid, but it just stuck with me. So now it's just like, it works now.
Yeah.
Bro, okay. But you could have been on the, Trey Z could have been on the mic like, a rich nigga, poor nigga, house nigga, field nigga. That's how you could have been on the mic, bro. That's how you could have been on the mic, bro.
Egregious. I'm so glad I didn't do that. So nasty. So nasty. So glad I didn't do that.
Man. Okay, Dante, if anybody could hear your story, what is one type of advice you would give them if they resonated with it, in that, you know, they have a huge interest in music and they're trying to bag the girls with the songs personal to them, but it's just not working? What would you tell them?
It sounds,
as they're continuing to grow in their musical career.
Fail quicker. Like, fail quicker. Like, aside from the whole girl story, there was a lot of things that I had no idea about music at all. Like, I didn't know how to properly approach somebody for a feature. I didn't know how to properly ask somebody about how to get on a specific lineup. I didn't know how to properly ask anybody for beats. You had to just learn and be like, okay, that's not the way to how to do something. This is the proper way. Like, this isn't the right way how to do something. That's the wrong way. Or this way is okay, but it could be tweaked a little bit, so on and so forth. So I would tell everyone to, because you're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen to everybody at least once or twice, no matter what you do and almost anything that you do. So it's like, get the failing part out of the way first. And then once you realize what your mistakes were or what you could alter or what you could do better, you kind of more or less, it's smooth sailing, more or less, honestly, because if I hadn't failed this much, it wouldn't have got me to be able to travel to a different state and do shows. It wouldn't be able to allow me to, make a bunch of memories with a bunch of rap people from out of New Jersey. It wouldn't be able to, more or less kind of sort of pay my bills. It wouldn't be able to get me in specific rooms that I didn't think I'd be in, and so on and so forth. So it's one of them things where it's like, had I just been afraid to even try in the first place, I would have never experienced anything. So to anybody and everybody, fail quicker. Fail. And be open with failing too. Like, it's okay. If anything, you can laugh from it. And now I look back on all the memories, not even mad on half of it, half or a good percentage of the things that I've done wrong, because it's like, okay, yeah, I remember what that happened because it taught me how to do X, Y, Z. Or I'm glad that didn't go that way, because if it did, I probably would be in a worse position than I am now or something like that. But it's like, yeah, don't be so open on I have to succeed. It's like, because if you succeed, then when that first loss hits you, you don't know how to recover. So fail quicker.
Yeah. Wow. That's so good.
I think it's so good hearing that, because, you, me, and Phil, we've been doing this stuff for a long time now. When you look at it when you zoom out and actually look at it with perspective, we've been doing this for a while. And some of the things that come as second nature to us, you know, looking for a feature or like buying a beat off of somebody or generally collaborating or trying to book shows or like all of those things, you know, we've done before. We've done, like, if we've done it once, we've done it 100 times. And it's easy to lose sight of the fact that a lot of people who are in this field or trying to get into this field have no idea like about how these processes work. They don't know how to talk to people, or they don't know the proper way to talk to people, I guess is the better way of saying that. I think that that's such a good answer and something that people don't think about often.
I love that like music, you know, can be a hobby to some, like it starts that way, but it can become something much more serious, a part of your identity and how you really process life, how you go through things and how you express it through your music and how you meet other people and how to communicate better. It really has, if you take it that serious, it really becomes serious, you know? And yeah, I love seeing that in you, Dante, and just meeting you a few years ago, right? For the first time and like just doing music together and just hearing your style. It was just so cool to see how defined you were in your style from freestyling, from lyrics, but also how you were just not afraid to be yourself, you know? So that was really cool. I love hearing that. I love hearing that story from you, man. And just, yeah, I just know that's,
thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's going to connect with a lot of people.
Man,
I was just going to say something silly. I was going to just say, like, I should probably follow her on the Instagram, but I was just...
Your 6th grade flame? Are you talking about your 6th grade flame? Or the 7th grade one? Or the 8th grade one? Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, which one, bro? 11, 12, or 13?
Yeah, you do that and let us know how that pans out, because we can actually do an update on the podcast. That's the beauty of this.
Episode 2, like the next time we interview you again, you'll be like, yo, I followed up with her. I made her a new rap. This time she couldn't deny. I was T-skills for the night. And then you got to let us know how that went.
Yeah, you should totally do that. I am all for that behavior. Just make sure to let us know how that goes. Man, Dante is such a funny person. I will never forget, like, the first time that I ever met Dante. Monty and I, who in the future we will have him on an episode, I'm sure. Monty is another good friend of ours. Monty and I drove from, was this before we moved to North Carolina? Yeah, I think it was right before we moved to North Carolina. Monty drove from where he was staying in Winston up to me where I was in Richmond, and then we drove together to New York. The plan was we were going to stay with Dante for a couple days, and then we were going to drive from Dante's to Luke's house, right? And so we drive, it's like 10 hours, maybe like 12 or 13. And we get to Dante's, you know, we're exhausted, we're tired, just kind of ready to call it quits for the night because we've been driving all day. And so we get into Dante's crib, and he's like, all right, so here's the deal, guys. I got one couch and no blankets.
I remember that. I remember that very vividly.
That's crazy.
Bro, he said, I got the couch and no blankets. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Because I was working on a cover commission. So I was like, you know what? I'll just like pull an all-nighter so it won't be a big deal. Like maybe I won't even have to sleep anything. But then I finished the cover like really fast. And, you know, maybe the tiredness from driving all day just pushed me to get across the finish line so I could go to sleep. And so I finished it. And Monty's already asleep on the couch. He's like knocked out. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep on the floor. And Dante had concrete floors. So like I go and I sleep on the floor, or I try to go to sleep on the floor, and I'm like there for an hour, and I'm like, nah, can't do this. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go and sleep in my car. So I get up and I walk outside to go sleep in my car, and I'm out there for like, I don't even know how, I thought Dante was like fast asleep. Like I didn't think I was going to hear anything else until the next day. But, you know, we're in the middle of winter, and so it's like super cold outside. So I'm like shivering in my car, like, are we going to make it till the morning? Fine. And then like I actually started to fall asleep, and then I hear him knocking on the window, and I like turn over, and he was like, you know, you can sleep in the bed upstairs in my sister's room. And I'm like, you didn't tell anybody about the bed that's upstairs that nobody was using? He was like, I didn't think about it.
That's crazy. Dante hit you up at the door while you thought you was going to sleep. You was going to the light. He really saved you, woke you up real quick.
Dude, he did. I'll never forget that moment. That's the moment that solidified our friendship. And then we drove to Long Island, and we made a song with Luke and Monty, which Dante, this is another like funny thing about Dante. He's like the type of person that doesn't need to hear the beat when you're making a song, man. Like Luke just like started making a beat. Me and Monty stayed up and wrote to it, and it was like 1:00 in the morning. So Luke makes this beat, me and Monty write to it, and we're like, Dante, are you going to get on this? And he's like, yeah. But he's like posted up on the futon, just like, yeah, I'll get to it. And like, we wake him up, and he just gets up, walks over to the mic, spits a verse in one take, and then goes back to the futon, lays down, and goes to sleep.
Yeah.
I like, man, you talk about a good writer and just a natural master at their craft. Dante is definitely the pinnacle. It is so funny how he can just do stuff like that on a regular basis.
We try around here. I love it because it's like music, well, hip hop in general. Just music in general, whether it was rock and roll, whether it was Lenny Kravitz, whether it was unironically Kiss, whether it was The Game, whether it was some of the R&B legends, whoever it was really just like it motivated. It was music. It helped me when I was happy. It helped me when I was sad. It helped me when I was depressed. It helped me when I was thinking about a woman. It helped me when I was thinking about my dad. It helped me when I was just anywhere in life. Music has always been there. Like it was just like my therapy. Now, obviously, therapy is a little bit different nowadays, but it was there for me when I needed it to be. So my thing is now, if my music can be there when they need it, then I'm doing the Lord's work because I've been there. So that's my whole thing about music. Just hope that it touches the lives of.
I love that. So one of the things that I get to be privy to as your new surprise creative director for your new album, one of the things I get to be privy to is hearing your album early, and I have been blown away by what I've heard on it. I think you've grown a ton between your last project and up to now. What would you say? I mean, obviously we've got a few months from where we're currently at, but I would love to be able to revisit this and compare the statement. What would you say that like the current project that you're working on says about where you are right now as far as your relationship with music and where you're at in life?
Loaded question. I think for a while, I was trying to be someone who I wasn't in music. It was starting not to eat me alive, but it started to make me not want to write as much because I'm like, all right, bro, like you got to sit down and figure out exactly like what's pushing you to be a better artist. What is the things that make you happy? So I think that was definitely thing number one. Thing number two was, okay, before we get to this next album, let's figure out what exactly is your relationship with music. Like, do you consider yourself doing this like forever, or are you just doing it because? And then once I was like, no, I want to do this forever, it was like, okay, cool. Some stuff you have to stop doing. Like you can't tell people about a release date 2 days later before it comes out, or you can't like say, hey, what do you guys think of the song? And they say one thing and you put it out later. Like it's just not going to work. You have to like sit down and like perfect your craft and so on and so forth. And number three, most importantly, I had to study like everybody from old to new, from what was working with other artists, what wasn't working with other artists, the greats, people who flops. Like I was just paying attention to being extremely super mindful to any and all the artists who are known and who have went down in history as, okay, that was a great artist. And yeah, they probably shouldn't have made music, and just being very mindful about how I wanted to go. And then on top of that, it was also, I put out a song last year called Code. And that song for me really was like, wow, that felt like I know I've been rapping for a while, but that felt like the first DZH song that I was like, that feels like me. I was rapping like crazy with a nice little hook, nice little beat switch, cool little sample. And I felt like, okay, this is me. So I focused on, okay, well, what else do I need to like do to make sure it's like, this is specifically me. I don't want to sound like anybody else. I want to just sound like myself. So kept to that. I made sure I had fun. I did my best to overthink, but also not overthink. Cause, in music, it's kind of hard to not do that at times, because, we're all creatives. We get in our head at least once or twice when we do the music stuff. And then, I'll play with my voice, figure out some strong suits, some weaknesses. Like, I'll be the first one to say it. I'm not a singer, but I'll harmonize the hell out of certain things and certain vocals and harmonies and things of that nature. So I'll strain my voice. I'll drink tea. I'll go on the internet. Like, I won't rush anything nowadays. Everything's just like, all right, it has to be like, what do I need to say versus, oh, this rhyme just done. Like, no. Like, let's figure out exactly like what is actually the thing that I want to say versus what's going to give me that next lyric and I'm done with the verse or whatever the case may be. So once everything had came to play and that was finished, I was like, okay, cool. Like, we're done. And then I realized I was like, yeah, I'm not really done. Let me just make a couple more songs just to have fun and be a complete goofball or just flex my pen a little bit and just show off my craft. Then once I got that out the way, it was just a matter of getting these songs mix and mastered. And then once I got the mix and mastered, it was like, all right, cool. Like, we got a project. Like, we're ready to go. So I think it just took time too, because everyone is like, oh yeah, like you can do an album a year. That's what I originally had thought. Like, I was like, okay, I can do an album a year. And then I realized you can't really, you can, but it's not going to be good work. And I realized if it's not good work, I'm not putting it out. So I really just took a step back. I learned to be patient. I learned to work with other people's schedules. I learned to just be human, really, honestly speaking. I learned to just be joyful. I learned to take a step back and be like, all right, cool. Well, if I'm not working with music, what's something else that I could do that's going to keep me inspired? One of the things that keeps me inspired heavily it might not work for some other people because they can't do it. But cooking, I love cooking. So if I will happily go on TikTok, find a little recipe and do my little version of it. Like, oh yeah, I might add a little crushed red pepper flakes, or I won't add this type of cheese, but I'll add this type of cheese, whatever the case may be. I'll bake. Bro, it sounds crazy as hell. Side note, I grew up with 3 women. I grew up with one older sister and a younger sister, the mom. So I'm always cleaning too, cooking and cleaning. Don't know why. I have no idea why, but it just works. I'll game. I got a PS2, so I won't even be on my Xbox as much. I'll just be throwing down old games. I'll restart it just to beat it again, just to find that drive and just really focus on the things that like really make Dante's Ron Henry happy, because that's what's the thing that I needed to do. The album was more or less like focus on what makes me happy, because I could be DZH in front of the mic and in front of different people all day long, but I can that's someone who I could only be like temporary. I have to go home and separate, okay, who is Dante's Ron Henry behind closed doors? So once I figured out how to be that person more and the rapper second, everything just aligned more with itself. So I think that's the main difference between Dante's Inferno and this next album. Dante's Inferno was like, all right, I can rap, I got this group of people, we're just getting some songs out, yada, yada, yada. And just seeing like, okay, I can do this full time. And it's good that it's just gotten the reach that I needed to and it did what it needed to do. This album is more like, all right, I got a village behind me. I know exactly where I need to be. Everything in the raps is everything that I've been feeling. It's the same person you see in the rapping. It's the same person. It's storytelling. It's me being a goofball. It's me having fun. It's me being extremely vulnerable and open and honest. And it's me being myself, but a little bit deeper. Like there are some records where I didn't even think I'd get chills. I'm like, I didn't think I could say that, or I think I'd be comfortable with saying some of these things. So yeah, it opened up a brand new door of vulnerability. Whereas before it was like, oh, let's not open that door yet. Or I'm not comfortable speaking on that yet, but we'll just knock on the door a little bit. Whereas now it's like, I'm kicking in the door. We're going to address it on the album. If we talk about it, we talk about it. If we don't, let's have a conversation. Yeah, I think the main thing was probably vulnerability and taking it and patience, taking a step back for sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
loaded question, loaded answer. I can't wait to hear this. Do you have any, I know patience, but is there any idea of when you're thinking of dropping it, or what can people expect?
It'll probably be out in the summertime. I'm probably going to start rolling everything out in the next couple months, just because that's where I wanted to start to go. Like the sound of the album, like before anything like visualized goes, was done in like late December. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm called out of work the next day once we got into the new year, and I just scribbled for like hours. I was like, let me figure out how I want this to go. And for the whole day, I made music. I'll think of an idea, write it down, write a lyric, and go back to another bar, then write everything down. I was just scribbling for hours. And before I knew it, I had a whole, like, I'm like, oh, damn, this is a whole rollout. I was just thinking constantly. I'm like, okay, this is a whole rollout. Like, I'm good. We're back to making more songs. I'm like, let me just tweak this rollout, tweak some of these dates. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, we're good. So that was that. And it's literally been since then, I've just been like, all right, cool, let's go. Let's get it moving. So I've just been in and out of different states. I'm completing videos. I'm scheduling stuff. I'm scheduling artwork. Kind of more or less put myself with a tight time schedule as well to like really like quote unquote feel what it means to be an artist independently, like do this full time more or less. So yeah, around March-ish is when I want to start rolling everything out. And as far as the album goes, probably June.
I
That's
think
awesome.
I gotta give Dante his props, you know, and we have a group chat full of artists. For those who are listening, we have a group chat full of artists, and we used to egg Dante on a lot as far as like when he would send in a release plan for some of his projects. And one of the biggest things is that, you know, some of these things, it felt like he had the right content, he had the right ideas, but he wasn't rolling them out the way that they deserve to be rolled out. And I think that one of the things that makes me the most proud about this project that he's about to get ready to release is that he has taken a step back, and he's not doing it because somebody else told him to. He's doing it because he knows that that's what it deserves. And it is just so cool to watch him blossom into like the full-fledged artist that is not just like, you know, we're in 2025 now. We all know what, you know, TikTok has done for artists, and we all know the importance of social media is for a musician, and the importance of a brand is for a musician. And now it's very important and prevalent and pertinent that artists become their own brand and DIY a lot of it. And so for Dante to come up with this rollout plan that's incredibly detailed and incredibly thought out is such a magnificent step forward from just a couple of years ago. And so I'm like super, super excited to watch this get rolled out and see the reception that it gets, because this is like the first time, like Dante is one of the artists who is gonna make it. Like that's what I think about his music. So it's really huge to see you going so in depth and caring about your art the way that, you know, we as your friend group have cared about your art, which is why we've been so hard on you in years past. But I think it's awesome that you're doing it yourself. And so I'm just really excited to see where it goes from here. It's gonna be really, really good. It's really, really good.
Look, rookie moves, but the penmanship on sensei. Lately in my head about what family and what friends say. Only happy when I get paid or when the rent's paid. I stop drinking cause I can't do what that gin say. Nowadays I don't trust friends' motives. Get better, never comfortable, the new slogan. The beast ain't out the cage yet. It's best if you don't poke him. Saying prayers to the chosen while asking him why I'm chosen.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this ad is sponsored by DZH, and you can go check out my newest single, Fear on a Tuesday, which is available on all digital streaming platforms, including Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Audio, and plenty more. Much love to Wide Awake Global.
So within your process of being patient, talking to God, taking these notes, working with all these people, really getting in depth with your rollout this time around, how does Jason kind of fit in with your creative direction and other key players that you like to mention? But what does that collaboration help you with?
It helps me tap into their minds as far as like, okay, what do I like? How do I figure something out? Or what do I need to do this on their end better? And what I mean by that is it's like, okay, let me tap into their brain and figure out like, okay, how do they see me so that I can see it from their perspective and be like, okay, this is something that I probably need to switch. Because before I was kind of like, I know from time to time I can be a complete goofball. Sometimes I can not take a lot of things seriously. And I'll be honest, sometimes people are like, okay, well, did you figure this out yet? And then when I go to them, it's like, not necessarily. And I know like in their eyes, it kind of looks a little odd. So I think one of the main things is to take a step back and see things from their eyes. And as far as choosing as far as like choosing my little village or my key players or whatever the case may be, it was really just like I said earlier, it was really just came down to a place of studying and just seeing like, okay, I might need this person on the team or I might need that person and I want that person, but maybe it's just not the budget right now, or I've seen how that person moved and I don't think they'd be a good fit and so on and so forth. And once it came down to that, as far as who I wanted on my team, some of the people were easily like pickable because I've been friends with these people for so long. So a person who's in my circle now, perfect example, he's a videographer out of Oklahoma. His name is Los, and Los had connected with me through a Twitch stream for a video that I submitted, and he was like, bro, like, listen, we gotta work. And I was like, all right, cool. And that was in 2021. It's 2025 now, and I just saw him like maybe a week and a half ago because we were finishing a video in Oklahoma, and I'm going back in February to do another one. So stuff like that, I've done, and that video that he was talking about is another videographer who I'm still cool with. And he's based out of New Jersey, lives in New York. His name is Apollo. So sticking with him has always been great. And as far as producers, I mean, I'm friends with a bunch, but I have like my main like circle-ish more or less. Like I know who to get beats from, who not to get beats from, or like what type of sound I'm looking for more or less. So, and then like I said, as far as like creative direction and artwork and PR and things of that nature, it really just came down to a matter of studying, or if I get approached like, hey, like I want to work with you. Okay, well, what can you offer? It's like, okay, well, what can I offer you? And just being honest about what we can offer each other rather than, because it happens a lot, rather than just wasting each other's time, because sometimes that does happen unintentionally and we don't even realize it. So it was just a matter of just taking a step back, sitting down like, okay, who would I want to play in this role and why? And are we both beneficial to one another? And are there roles that we can see each other both play very well and fit for that specific project? And if it doesn't work out, it's no bad blood. It just doesn't work out. It is what it is. And if it does, it's like, okay, cool. And if it happens, well, the first time, let's go back again the second time, see what we can improve on, see what we can stop doing, see where our pros and cons may or might have went bad on, figure out why we might have bumped heads, and then keep it moving. So, yeah.
That's good.
To make a long story short, Dante picked me for his creative director role because he sees the vision that he trusts the vision, bro.
He trusts the vision. Awesome. Man, Dante, you could share one piece of advice for anybody listening. It could be for anything. For your love of cooking, your love of music, the love of growth, and who you are today. What's one piece of advice that you would give if you could even think of like a younger you, was listening to this? What would you say?
Don't skip steps. Don't skip steps at all. I always thought for a while, I don't know why, but I always thought for a while like all I needed was mic and a good song and everyone will come to me. Like I ain't got to go nowhere. And I'm like, no, it's not how it works. Like you have to go outside. You got to perform. You got to network with people. You might have to go to that one concert you don't want to go to, or you might have to go to that one open mic where you said you were going to go and then something bad happened. You show up late. You can't necessarily skip the steps. Even if you think for a brief second, no, I don't have to do this, 9 times out of 10, you probably have to do it if you haven't already done it already. That. And another thing I'm going to add, to study, to just be a student in anything and everything that you do, whether, you think you've mastered it or, you think it's a craft and you might do it like, treat it like it's second nature, but anything and everything can, be tweaked and can be done better to perfection. I forgot what movie it was. It's this movie called The Mechanic with Jason Statham. It's an action movie. People were dying left and right. It's rated R. But the one thing that I remember is that he had this gun from this mentor, and on the gun it said victory requires preparation. So that's how I basically think about it. So exactly. So that's how I think about it. If I want to be great and I want to be victorious in anything and everything that I do, I got to be prepared before anything and everything. So I feel like if I'm prepared because I studied, or I'm prepared because I'm trained for it, or I'm prepared because I just saw how certain things were moving for certain people, or I saw what worked and what I could apply to myself and what didn't work and what I can stay away from, green light. So study, and to not skip any steps.
Man, that's crucial. Don't skip any steps. Always study, be prepared for whatever task that you have at hand. I think that is such sound advice. Man, thank you for blessing this episode, man. It's been so solid. Now, I actually had a quick question about, you're in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is a pro in being in Jersey as an artist, and what's a con? I want to kind of think about, I want you to really be honest with this answer, in regarding to being a musician. Okay, let's go there.
I'm going to start with the con first. I think for a while, and I'm not sure why, but like us New Jerseyans as artists, as rappers, as creatives, as anything that has to do with, not the regular 9 to 5, has always been like this chip on our shoulder. We have to do it by ourselves. Like, we don't want to listen to anybody. I do this, and this. It's like, okay, well, you need to learn how to more or less, give some of that, you need to learn how to, there's a word for it. You need to learn how to delegate some of that work to somebody else rather than, taking all the responsibility of anything and everything. So I will say one of the cons is we feel like we have to do everything, or we feel like we're better than everybody else, or we just carry this chip on our shoulder of like, oh, I'm better than you, so I ain't gotta work with you, or da-da-da-da, or you're not on my level. That's really one of the biggest cons that I first started to see in like 2019, 2020, 2021. Because I saw it in like specific open mics that I was going to. A friend of mine would host open mics, and I just saw it on people's faces like, oh, I'm better than so-and-so, so I should have won, or you ain't better than me, so I should have won, or, a bias, the beat battle that I would go to and somebody wins because they know the owner. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just certain things like that. I was like, dang, that kind of stinks. So I think that's one of the cons that being in New Jersey is. It's like everyone is kind of more or less like, I got it. I don't need you whole time. You need each other in order to like progress. Because in California, everyone knows everybody. New York, everyone collabs with everybody. Chicago, everyone knows everyone, and so on and so forth. In Florida, everyone collaborates with everybody. In New Jersey, you see it, but it's very, it's not as common as I'd like it to be. That's the best word to put it. Like, I can call like a bunch of Jersey producers now or a bunch of rappers now. We won't have anything just because they might be in their head or they just don't want to release it, or they just feel like they're better than everyone else. Don't know why, but this is how it is. And I get it, it's competition and we all feel like we want to beat each other, but at the same time, imagine what would happen if we worked together as a village. We'd probably put together some dope shit. But I digress. That's the con. The one pro with that, there's always something to do in New Jersey to like get your name out there. I remember in 2019, because this is when I stopped. This is when I was like, yeah, NJCU, because I went to college, side note. I went to college for 3 semesters in Jersey City and was like, I'm not going to do this. Like, there's no need for me to be here. And I was like, all right, cool. So what are you going to do? I was like, I'll just help mom with the rent and get up at a job and just do the music thing on the side, more or less. And for a while, went to a whole bunch of open mics, just looked up open mics in New Jersey, kept performing, and realized, I'm like, okay, cool. There's something for me to do here. Like, there's a crowd. There's a, whether it's underground or, it's noticeable or it's not noticeable, there's a crowd for me to like, know my name. There's always someone for me to, there's always something for me to do in the city or in the state or in the upper side of North New Jersey or South Jersey. And once I realized that, I'm like, I really can't say that I have nothing to do at all. Like, I can't say, oh yeah, well, I can't do this because there was nothing there. It's like, no, there was something there. I just didn't look hard enough. So that's one of the main things. And I could always ask one of the homies, hey, is there anything going on tonight? Oh yeah, so-and-so is having an open mic here, or so-and-so is having a convention here, or so-and-so is doing like a poetry slam here. Even if I'm not doing anything, it's just good to go, show face, get familiar. I might need the venue, or I might need somebody who needs a model, or I might need somebody who needs a rapper. You never really know. So I think one of the pros is that there's probably always something to do in the city of New Jersey, even if it is for a little bit. And even if the event turns out to be mid, you went outside in general, which is something I also need to do. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, man, we have our first Wide Awake showcase in Baltimore March 21st and 22nd. And as it is, like Wide Awake Global, we definitely want to take it to different states. So it could be really special if we partner up and do something in Jersey, you know, in the future. So yeah, we'll definitely have that conversation, because something that I noticed too, because of a lot of the connections I made online with other creatives, it was natural to meet people that were from different states, from LA to New York to Maryland to North Carolina. You know, it was very common, and there's strength in that, but also there's a lot of strength in your local community. And I think finding ways to grow that online presence and be tapped into your local community is really crucial. And I think you can learn a lot from both sides. So I see that as a huge thing, huge benefit for artists to do, because oftentimes maybe I'll go to an open mic and people don't even have songs out on streaming platforms, right? But they're mad talented. But they got that old soul like you, right? Like, and they're just like, it's just about the craft and the music. And that's crucial. But in our modern time, it's like maybe you want to grow and show yourself, put yourself out there. But on the flip side, right? Everybody on the TikTok world, everybody's talking about the first 3 seconds, the hook. They have no substance in a lot of the songs. And so where's the craft in that, right? So I say that to say, it's like, there's many things that we can learn from one another in really trying to find what your purpose is in that creation process, you know?
Yeah, for sure. My creation, honestly, is like, nowadays it used to just be like, gotta get this song finished, or I heard this beat, I want this to be the best rapper ever, da da da. Nowadays, it's like, if I'm not having fun with it, I'm not even going to approach it. And I think that has been what's been keeping me going. Like, if I'm not having a beat on loop at least like 3, 4, 5 times of the day, I'm not even about. Before it was like, I can rap to this and I'll put something together, but it won't be from the heart. It'll just be off of a second nature thing of, yeah, I've recorded this, or I rapped over this, or whatever the case may be. And I just went about my day, and it'll just sit in the vault forever because I just wanted to put it together. Whereas now it's like, I want to make music that matters and that'll have like a legacy, and at least, you know, get to that point of like, he really cared. He really cared for his craft rather than he was just doing some bullshit. So,
right.
Dude, I can't tell you just how Dante used to do this thing where like somebody in the group chat would send a beat and he would return an hour later with a fire verse and a fire hook on it. And people would be like, let me get on the open, or like, when are you going to drop this? And he would just be like, oh, this is just for practice, for real.
Yeah. And it'd be bad. It would be bad. But it's like,
and like, man, he said he did it on one of my beats. Like it was like a short track. And he sent back like one of my favorite things that he had ever done at the time. And he was like, nah, I'm just using this for practice, low key. And like, to be fair, like I think practice is beneficial in every creative field, but at the same time, art deserves to be seen. And art deserves to be heard. So I'm glad that you're like finding your way out of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It took a while, but you know, we here. And now I'm also realizing too, now you just said that, I got a special place for those. I just don't know how to necessarily roll them out yet. We're just going to let them live someplace for one space at a time. Like just one of them things where it's like, it won't come out, but it'll live here. That's all one of the things that I'm trying to work on. So they'll probably see the light of day. I just don't know when, but it'll live here. One of them things.
So Dante, at the end of every episode, I kind of find things that I want to highlight, that just like make my brain go. And I have to find the actual album cover. Let me get into character real quick.
Yeah, this is happening.
Sheriff Houston. All right, today's featured content of the day. I've been waiting on this all day. We're currently recording late in the evening, so this is a better time than ever to highlight my brother. My featured content of the week is going to be Heaven Misses Me, I'm Not Done Yet by Boy March. That is a 17-track album by my brother, my friend, an incredible creative. He's based out of Oklahoma and just an incredible rapper, incredible songwriter, incredible creative mind. Brother recently bought his own house and then put together this beautiful project about life and just how painful it can be and how real it can be.
Yeah.
And how we have to embrace the fact that the world doesn't stop turning. Tell you what, Heaven Misses Me, I'm Not Done Yet by Boy March. Releases in 13 minutes. Dante can't do math. 13 minutes from right now. By the time you're listening to this episode, it'll be 2 days old. But right now, it's 13 minutes away. Really deep story, really good music. Give it a listen. That is my featured content of the week, and we will include a link to it in the bio. Thank you.
And to also add on to that, you can also catch me on one of those records too as well. I believe I'm on Blunderverse, if I'm not mistaken. Nice little penmanship.
What did you just call it, son?
Blunderverse, right? No, I'm butchering.
Did you mean blunderbuss?
Yeah, I was butchering the hell out of it. Sounds about right. My fault, Boy March. My fault, bro.
I'm gonna have to tell him about this.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting him on the podcast here soon. Better watch out.
Don't worry, I will.
1 second.
Man, that's Sheriff.
Yo, did I miss anything?
Nah, bro. Nah, you're good.
You're good. Everything's loud and clear, bro.
Valid. I didn't want to get any phone number.
You're good, man.
Yeah, nothing really happened. But you can sign off for the listeners here.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Wide Awake podcast featuring Jae and Phil and our special guest, DZH. It has been a wonderful time getting to catch up and chat. I have been so lucky to have Dante in my life, and I'm so excited to see what happens over the next couple months. We will be back again on Monday with another episode that we are about to film right now. Dante, if you have anything that you want to plug before we end the episode, feel free. Anything you want to shout out, feel free. Want to give you like your minute to shine before we end the episode.
Of course. Honestly, everyone just stay humble, remain yourselves, and move with pure intentions. Yeah, that's really about it. Every day, you should think I had to rush everything, but it's like, nah. It's like every day, one day at a time, one day at a time is one step at a time. So just keep that in mind at anything and everything you should do, and yeah, keep it pushing. And pray every day. All glory to God. For sure. I can't wait to tell y'all my testimonies. Man, but ye, remain humble and remain yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you for taking the time to be on our episode.
Of course.
This concludes the Wide Awake podcast. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.
Yeah.
Great work.
Hey, man. My phone about hot as hell.